Hey guys, I'm Bobby,
I'm Brent.
and you're watching Learning with Bobby and Brent. So, what are we going to be learning today, Brent?
We're gonna backtrack a little bit today, and we're gonna go over the basics of Premiere. All kind of need-to-know stuff for anyone who's starting out who's never really used the software before. So, helpful hotkeys, some shortcuts, some just explaining what certain buttons do, just all the stuff that you probably want to know if this is the first time you're opening the software. So, that's what we're gonna be doing today.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. And basics are key.
Yes. We'll get to the song later.
Yeah, we'll get to the song.
Well,
Okay.
you'll learn about what else is key. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little video we shot here, and or Bobby shot, I should say, and we're going to drag it into our project area. So I'm going to click on that first. So this is our project area right here. This is where we drag in all our different videos, our pictures, any stuff that we're going to be using to create our video and our sequence is going to go into the project area, which is here. As you can see, it says import media to start. So let's import our media, which in this case will be this video. So we'll drag and drop in. Boom. And importing the file. Cool. Now we got a little video here.
Sweet. Now, where's the editing timeline? I noticed that it's not really there.
Yeah, so right now you see there's nothing in here. There's two ways we can create our sequence. One way, the easier way, would be to literally just, again, take this, drag it, and drop it into our timeline. And that would automatically create a new sequence for us. Another way we could do it is if we were to right click or control click if you're using a Mac and don't have a mouse. You could go to create new item, make a sequence, and then you could pick whatever setting you want to use. Usually we just go with this, maybe like 29 frames per second. That creates a new sequence. See, now all of a sudden we have two tabs here with two different sequences, and now that I have this new sequence, I could take our video again, drag it in, and now we got another sequence. So that's two different ways to do it. Obviously drag and drop is the easiest way to do it. So now you can see we have our little video here in our timeline. If we hit the spacebar to play, we have this little video here. And so right now we're looking at our program monitor, which is basically shows us, it plays back whatever's in our timeline. Now, you could also preview stuff beforehand before you bring it into your timeline. Say you only want to use part of this video. We could double click on it, and this will open it up in what is called the source monitor. Now, what the source monitor is it shows us what's going on in the video without actually it being in the timeline. So we can do some editing to it first if we want to. Say we want to, I don't know, actually start a video right here. Now, in this area, we have a couple cool tools. You can see some different buttons we have down here. Two really valuable ones to have are these two right here, which is the mark in and mark out. Basically what these do, the mark in, if we do that, see how it created this little bar here? This shows us now that this is where our video starts now. It got rid of this extra chunk in the beginning that we didn't want. So now our video is just this area. So now that I've done my mark in, I'm actually gonna because it can get a little confusing here because these things are all kind of the same name.
Yeah, why are there three different videos in the project folder?
Okay, so what we have right now, this first one here is our sequence that we created. So when we drag the video into the timeline, when there's nothing here originally, that creates a new sequence and it automatically names it whatever the video file was that you dragged in.
Okay.
The second one here was the sequence that we made by right-clicking and creating a new sequence. So let's actually go ahead and just delete this one for now because we don't need two of them.
Okay.
And then this other file here is the actual video file. Another helpful tool we have down here is we can create bins. And this can be a helpful way to organize stuff. So I'm going to create one called footage. Now I'm going to stick this file in there. So now they're separated, which will help us to keep things a little less confusing.
But it's really helpful that you could drag the bin into the tab.
Yeah, that's another cool thing you can do too. You can dock things in different areas. Whatever workspace works best for you. You know, you can create your own workspace and save it as a preference. Maybe we can go over that in another video. But for now, this is just like an easy, you can drag it around, you can undock it, and then move it wherever you want to. I kind of like it in here, so that's a good spot for it. And I'm also going to right click on this and I'm going to rename it.
Okay.
Missed it, there we are. I'm just going to call this video 1. Just to keep it a little more organized, just because, you know, when things start having all the same names, it can get really confusing really fast. So now, if I were to take this video and drag it into the timeline, you'll see it's a little bit shorter than the other one because it now, thanks to our little marking, is taking away this chunk over here. And so this other button here that I was talking about earlier, the mark out, basically does the opposite of what this one does, which is it marks an end point to our video. So let's say we go along and right here is where we want to end it. That's the only useful stuff we want. So now I'm going to delete this particular chunk here just to get it out of the way. Now if I drag this in again, we got an even smaller clip.
Wow.
So now we really just
Nice.
have only the stuff that we want from this particular
nice.
clip. So that's a useful thing to know how to do.
So one problem that I'm noticing that I feel like a lot of people would encounter is that the audio isn't dragging in.
Yes.
So briefly, we'll explain why that's happening. So if you actually look on the left of the timeline right there are the different video and audio tabs, the different layers, sort of.
Yep.
And V1 is selected to the left of video 1. But if you notice, the audio doesn't have A1 selected. That's why the audio is not dragging in. So if you ever have a problem where your audio is not showing up, make sure that those are both selected. So now if we delete that video and drag it in again with A1 selected, the audio should appear.
Boom.
So that was the problem. Now if you're new to Premiere, that you can encounter that a lot.
Yeah. A lot of little weird quirks like that crop up every now and again. So that, great point, Bobby. That's a very good thing to be aware of, is to make sure that if you want the audio from the video clip that you're dragging in, that this guy right here is highlighted, the A1 that's to the left of the lock here. So now another helpful tool that we have in here is this one here called a marker. Now this is helpful in that we can say there's a spot here, I'm like, all right, I want to do something in the video at this particular moment, add some text, add a graphic, do something here, whatever.
Yeah.
Adding this marker here will now create this little bullet point here. So now, if you see where this little green marker is, and I say I want to create a text layer, so if I were to say how we would do that, we can go create a new item down here, title, which is another word for text in this case. So I'll put test. And we'll just type in test here. We'll make it black so you can see it a little better. Red stands out nice-ish. But again, this is just a test. So now if I drag my new little title that I created here, I can line it up right with that little spot that I created in here. We'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little better. So I can really get it and fine tune it. Drag it to the marker. And see how when I drag that, it highlights the marker there?
Kind of.
So it snaps right to it. So you may be wondering, how does it do that? Over here down our timeline, we have some helpful little icons. This one right here is with the little magnet is the snap function. If this isn't highlighted, you might be trying to line up a particular piece of footage or graphic with your video, but you'll notice it won't be as easy because, you know, it's kind of just going wherever it wants to go.
Yeah.
Now, if I turn on my snaps, see how all of a sudden we get this little line and the little arrows pointing down at the beginning of our clip here?
Yeah.
That's showing it snapping.
Snaps right in.
And same thing with our marker, it'll snap right to the marker. This other button right here, link selection, what this does is that when we import a video file with audio, you can either have it so that the selections aren't linked, so I can manipulate the video separate from the audio, or you can link them if you want these to always be together. So whenever I select one, it automatically selects the other, so I can move both of them together.
So now, what
Also
are some of
helpful
the tools on the left there that we can use? I don't want to go over all of them, but there are some basic tools that will definitely help you out, and some keyboard shortcuts that we use.
Absolutely. Okay, so the one you're going to be using by far the most is the razor tool. Now, as you can see here next to it, there's a little C. That stands for the keyboard shortcut.
Yeah.
So I could either click this to get my little razor tool, so now you see I've got a little razor going across here, or if I go back to this one, if I press the letter C on my keyboard, it does the same thing. So now I've got my razor tool, I can put some slices in here and there. So now if I want to, I could take this chunk here, move it at the ends, put this one here. Now we got all of a sudden,
Interesting.
Very disorienting.
Very disorienting, but helpful. And if you notice, all the tools on the left have their own keyboard shortcut.
Yes.
So the Select Tools keyboard shortcut is V.
V.
And that is very helpful. You're going to be going back and forth between V and C a lot.
Yes. So another thing that is helpful, let's go back to our eraser tool for a second.
Okay.
Now,
So select C.
yep, I hit C. So now let's say we didn't have linked selection highlighted. If I go to cut, notice how I'm only cutting the video now.
Okay. And the audio is remaining the same.
Yes. So now, if I want to cut both of these, and not just the video or audio, what I would have to do is if I hold the shift button before I click, see now all of a sudden we have two razors here stacked on each other. Now when I click, it cuts both simultaneously.
So we'll cut everything on that.
It'll cut
timeline?
everything. So let's get crazy with it. Let's just start
Ooh.
stacking some stuff. So now we got multiple videos and audio tracks on top of each other. Blow it up so you can see a little bit better what's going on. Now, if I were to go in here and hold down Shift, cut, see now I'm cutting everything.
Wow, it cuts the whole timeline.
It
That could
cuts
be
the
very
whole
helpful.
timeline. Yeah, especially if you really have a lot of layers. Like as you see in some of our videos, like Tesla Time News or whatever, we have a lot of graphics going on, and so we have lots of layers going on. And so if we need to cut like a whole chunk out, you really need to use that Shift cut so that you make sure that you cut everything.
Now, something I would wonder as a first-time Premiere user is how do you zoom in and out? Because that is going to be something that you're going to be doing a lot when you need to back up and look back into the timeline. So what's the fastest and easiest way to zoom in and out?
Very good question. There's a couple ways we could do it. So what I would do is I would press the Z button to get my zoom tool here, and I can click highlight and zoom right in on that. So that's one way to do
Okay.
it. Now there's also other keyboard shortcuts we can use. So let me go back to my select tool by hitting V, and I can actually use the plus and minus buttons on the keyboard to zoom in and out. So right now I'm pretty zoomed in and say like, I really need to see what's going on later in the timeline. I'll just hit my minus button a bunch of times. Now I can really see everything kind of like in context on my timeline. But now I want to zoom back in because like, okay, I see what's going on here. Press the plus button a few times, zoom in and out.
Wow.
Really easy.
And another question I have is a lot of people starting Premiere might be wondering, what's up with the white box when you select in between two videos? A white box appears. And
Yes.
I remember for a while before I learned how to use Premiere, I'm like, what is this? But it actually turns out that it's a very helpful tool.
Yeah, so basically what this is doing is you're actually highlighting the space, as you said, in between each video. So let's say I want to cut this chunk off the end of this video. I don't want it anymore. I'm going to delete it. And now, let's say I want to get these two videos together, but I'm like, alright, well, I guess I got to highlight and drag everything over. That's no good.
Yeah, that could take a long time.
That can take a long time, and you might grab stuff you don't want to grab, like, oh, this is a pain. What you can do, which is a lot easier, if you see we have this highlighted space here, if you were to click the delete button, that gets rid of that space and automatically puts these two clips together.
That's a really helpful tool because you can, it takes everything and it shifts it over without damaging.
So let me do
or
it
moving.
one more time here so we can see everything that's going on here. So now we see all our different clips that we have in here. Delete. See how it moved everything over. Not just, one clip or whatever. Everything that was after that space that we had highlighted and we deleted gets moved over. So the next one we're going to go over is, it's called Track Select Forward tool, which is kind of a weird name, but it's a super useful tool. Basically what this does is it will select everything that's to the right of whatever you click. So if I were to click this one, it selected everything. If I click here, it's this video and everything beyond it.
That's very helpful.
So say, I only want to move this stuff over here. So, I could try to use the lasso by clicking and dragging and highlighting. But when you have lots of layers, it can be easy to accidentally miss something.
Okay, well, that's the basics of Premiere.
Yeah.
If we missed anything, if you have any questions, please comment below. We'll get back. And we will try our best to make a video on what you want to learn.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for watching this episode.
Thanks for watching Learning.
Yeah. With Bobby and Brent. Jeez. Oh, Bobby. Hey guys. Thanks for watching this episode of Learning. We're dancing as usual.
Sure you're not sick of this yet?
Yeah. This song is just too good to get sick of. I don't think we can get sick of it.
For a moment, I thought I was gonna get sick of it, but now I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, me too. Earlier you were pretty angry.
Yeah, I was doing some Street Fighter moves, like some Hadoukens and some scissor kicks and stuff.
I had to back off. He was getting a little bit riled up there.
Like, subscribe, Patreon.
Yes.
Now you know.
Now you know. Pretty
So-
sure the song might have ended already by now.
Probably. We're gonna have to roll it again.